United in the Europa League. Europa League. Let me tell them one time, and we say Europa League.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Welcome to the Erik ten Hag and Marcus Rashford. I should probably put Marcus Rashford in front when it came to that press conference, because there was a lot of questions directed towards Rashford as opposed to Erik ten Hag. I don't think any questions really directed to what the opponent is going to look like Thursday. As you would expect, it's the fallout from the game at Anfield, the defeat at Anfield this past Sunday. We've got all of the reaction to it. We've got clips, questions, answers, responses from both Rashford and Ten Hag in this press conference reaction, of course, ahead of Thursday's Europa League clash at Old Trafford, Manchester United versus Real Betis. Once again, in the Europa League, we have Spanish opposition, and unlike when we played Barcelona, where we were away first and then home in the second leg, it's the other way around. We're home in the first leg and away in the second leg, and the only way to react, the only way to bounce back from the defeat this past weekend, the devastating, humiliating defeat, is just to win your next game in the Europa League, in the Premier League. We'll never forget. Of course, we're never going to forget what happened at Anfield. It's going to live in infamy, but all the Manchester United players and manager and staff and everyone can do is move on to the next game, win it, and continue to try and build momentum. I mean, since the World Cup, again, we've only lost twice, that being to obviously Arsenal and Liverpool, and let's try and keep up that kind of ratio. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm hoping for. So as one would expect, there were lots of questions about the reaction, the fallout, the inquest, all that kind of stuff from the manager, the players, the coaching staff from the weekend. As I mentioned, Marcus Rashford was alongside Erik ten Hag in the press conference at Carrington today ahead of tomorrow's Europa League clash. So we're going to get into all of it as always. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner as well. And Blue Dabba Dee Dabba Die spreading misinformation, saying late it was scheduled for 1:15. I am early. I am early by the schedule. Yes, I didn't allow it to get that far. You know what it is that whenever there is a press conference, obviously I would like, and I think we would like, to bring you the footage, to bring you any questions that we get to ask whenever we do get to ask them. And sometimes that means it can take, the thing is with the internet and Wi-Fi, especially there at Carrington, and then sometimes you have to work off like 4G. Sometimes it takes longer to get the footage over. So I don't know about you, I'd rather wait a couple of extra minutes, couple of 5 minutes here and there to make sure we get the footage, to make sure that everything is as it should be. Yeah, because I think it's important with these kind of press conference reactions too, that I can tell you and I can quote what people have said, and I have the quotes in front of me as always, but when you can actually hear what the manager has said themselves or the player has said themselves, it gives a completely different sort of form of context that I could never give, So that's sometimes that's why it's a little bit here and there when it comes to the press conference reactions, but it's just you and I together. This is our baby. We've been doing these since the beginning of United View, these press conference reactions, so being able to expand them is what we like to see there as well. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Let's see what guys are saying, or the UV community is saying as they file in as always. Jefflin says, UV always brings a smile amidst the doom or the gloom and doom. We try. And you guys bring smiles to us. I mean, otherwise I'd just be sitting in a dark room watching press conferences, making notes like this. So absolutely. Lucky says, my players will correct their mistakes tomorrow. Very important game. Fat Thor says, big up everyone. Well done, Owen. Notice your pronunciation of Ten Hag was spot on. I've been working on that. You know me. I try my very best. I saw a clip of Joao Felix in the press conference for Chelsea, was it Monday? And he was saying basically, everyone always says my name wrong. And I just thought that's so and he was saying they do it in Spain as well, but it is something we do really badly over here in the UK. We basically, a player will come from overseas, or a manager, and we basically tell them, this is how your name is pronounced. And they're like, well, my name's actually pronounced this way. And we go, we don't care. we're pronouncing it this way. So, yes, I try my best, certainly as well. I still absolutely butcher, not like Lissandro Martinez, I butcher the pronunciations, but I try. I try. So, there you go. And remember, you can join the UV Members Club. Links in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. Still a lot of people asking about the Anthony signed shirt. The winner was revealed yesterday on the Flex and KG show. So if you haven't already, be sure to check that out. Spoiler, it's Dean Turner. And the only way to claim your prize is by DMing us on Instagram at United View TV. Don't pay any attention if indeed they come, these sort of bots on these YouTube channels. You've seen them going, you've won! Message us on Telegram. We don't have a Telegram. So none of that kind of stuff. Again, if you want to find out all that information, it's in yesterday's Flex and KG show, and it's also on all of our social media platforms as well. Now this is, I've just been saying about pronunciation, Palmarius. I think that's right, but you've told me how to say this before and I still get it wrong. Been a member though for 6 months, big long time supporter of the channel, saying big up Owen, let's back the manager, hope we do Betis some damage tomorrow and smash Southampton too. I'm still wary of some of the bottlers in our club. Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's kind of curious, isn't it, at this stage? How are we going to react? You sort of look at it with a bit of trepidation, don't you, saying, are they going to react? You know, Palmarius. Got it. There you go. Palmarius. I will do my very best. But yeah, it is, you do have this sort of element of trepidation, don't you? Because if we win tomorrow, win Sunday, you just go, well, it was just a freak game then. You know, it was just a freak game. It happened. We move on. If we don't perform well and we lose against Betis, and if we lose against Southampton at home or drop points against Southampton at home, then we really start to see the psychological damage of that defeat at the weekend. So it's going to be fascinating from that perspective, certainly. Let's get into the press conference, though. That's why we're all here, is to listen to the answers to the questions that were posed to the Manchester United manager and Manchester United's top goal scorer this season. The first was to Erik ten Hag, and he was asked about the debrief after a difficult result on Sunday and the conclusions that he came to and the players came to. Here's what the Manchester United manager had to say.
Of course, we have to set conclusions, and that's what we did. And of course, we talked about, and of course, we have seen that game and set the right conclusions. And from there on, we have to reset and bounce back.
Very obvious what he's going to say. I mean, that is always going to be the first question, isn't it? It's always going to be, have you reflected? What conclusions did you come to? I mean, he said what he needed to say after the game, I felt, on Sunday in all of the interviews he did with the various media and in the press conference, saying that the players were unprofessional and they needed to learn from this and they were going to dissect it, debrief, and I'm sure that's what they did. I doubt he was going to come out in a public forum and say, this player didn't do this, that player didn't do that. He said they're unprofessional once, and even that, I think that he was very calculated and careful with his words on Sunday as well. You know, I noticed a lot of journalists and a lot of media were trying to goad him into saying certain things about either individuals or the team as a whole. And he just really kept saying the one word, unprofessional. It was unprofessional. And I remember, I think back to when we were having those chats with the We Talk Ajax guys, and they said, because they are prophets, because a lot of the things they said came to be true about Erik ten Hag, and of course they would be. They had him as a manager for, 3 or 4 years, so they would know him inside and out far better than us, and still probably do because of the amount of time that he was there. They were saying he will back his players, even to the point where you think this is getting ridiculous now. Why isn't he going in on certain players? That was Erik ten Hag at the weekend, going in on players, saying that the team as a whole, they were unprofessional. In second half, unprofessional. But it's a couple of days removed from that now. It's 3 days, 72 hours removed from it, and he's moved on. They've debriefed. They've come to the conclusions. They have to reset, and that's it. They have to come back. And again, I get it, because this is what I was sort of talking about in Matchday Reloaded, and that was just less than 24 hours after the result. It's not the thing that you or I want to hear, is it? That we have to move on. You know, and the only thing we can focus on is the next game, because we've had so many years of We Go Again FC, and I understand that, but it's done. It's over. You know, that's it. And really, the only actions speak louder than words, as they say. And it's true. They can say the social media posts and they can do these press conferences and these interviews and all that kind of stuff. Ultimately, what is going to remedy what happened at the weekend is Thursday. Is Sunday, and is the game after that, and the game after that, and the game after that, and where we are at the end of the season. If we end the season in the top 4 with the Carabao Cup plus maybe another trophy, you know, people will always reflect, and people will always have to hold that defeat against Liverpool because it was historic by nature. But ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, it's going to be how do we come back from it? How do we react to it? Do we let this completely capitulate our season? Do we let it ruin our season? Or did we just brush it off and say, oh, it was a freak? Because as of right now, to brush it off and say, well, it was a freak result, rightfully so, people can say, well, you don't know that. You don't know if it's a freak result. If we just completely carry on as usual, like nothing happened, then you could go, it's maybe a freak result. That's the only thing they can do. That's all they can do. Chris, one of our members, says, Owen, these players will never accept that they gave up. What do they consider giving up, by the way, if they do not associate Sunday's result with giving up? Well, I do want to wait to that question because I think that's a really interesting point you make there. And I think I understand why Marcus Rashford says what he says, because what else is he supposed to say? But at the same time, I think you're right. It's a curious one. It's a curious one, no doubt about it. But we'll wait till we get to that one. So the next question to Erik ten Hag was from Jamie Jackson, I believe, from The Guardian. And the question was, do you feel like the players let you down? Did the players let you down on Sunday? Here's what Ten Hag said.
No, we are in the same boat, and we do it in togetherness. And so we win together, we lose together, and we make a mess on Sunday, and we have to deal with it. And,
again, with those kind of questions, was it, they let me down, me personally? No, what's he's going to say? Everyone let themselves down. The players individually let themselves down. The team as a collective let themselves down. The manager, he'll feel that he let himself down. He'll feel that he let the fans down, because ultimately, when it comes to the manager, he picks the team too, and he has to prepare them for the best way he can, and every person involved in Sunday will feel that they let themselves down, they let the team down, they let the fans down. Importantly too, because and I touched on this before too, that it's a group of players that we like. We were saying that just a week prior when they won the Carabao Cup. One of the fantastic thing about this team this season is that we like them. You expect it from a group of players that you don't like. Last season, when they lost to Liverpool 5-0 at Old Trafford, but even in particular that one at Anfield, that 4-0, when it was just so bad under Ranić and just awful, just absolutely awful. We were disappointed, we were devastated, but were we surprised? No, we weren't surprised, because we went, see, that's what that group of players are all about. We knew they were going to do something like that. We know they're spineless. We know they've got no guts. We know blah, 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 blah. We knew that. The thing almost made it hurt even more at the weekend is that we didn't see that coming. We thought and we believed that this group of players had more about them than that, and the capitulation days were kind of over. And it's even more disappointing to see someone you like do something that you're not proud of, or that you don't like, if that makes sense. So as far as did the players let him down? Well, of course, he might feel, or we might feel, that the players let Ten Hag down, but they let everyone down. And I think that's the key point there. They didn't just let the manager down; they let themselves down. They let the team down. They let the fans down. Everyone involved let themselves down at the weekend. And what's Ten Hag going to say in a press conference? Yeah, they did. I can't stand them now. I want to leave. It's one of those questions where it's, no. And to Ten Hag's point, they are in the same boat. When they win, they do it together. When you lose, you do it together as well. It's not the time to be separating yourself as a manager from the group of players going, that's on them. Even though it might be, and realistically it is, on their mentality, a good manager does not throw his players under the bus in a time in which there's a need for unity and there's a need for United. And you win together and you lose together. And I know that's cliche and people will go, roll their eyes, but it's true. And people say it often for a reason, certainly as well. VK says, team, he's got an acronym here. Together we achieve more. Let's move on and finish the season strong. What else we got here? The Reckoning says, spot on Fat Thor. This is a stain that will forever remain up until we hit them with 7 or 8. It's up to these players to recognise that, though. Need them to take that on. Again, and I do agree. I do. Tweem. Together we achieve more. The worst thing is I didn't even see that. Yes, there's a letter missing in that one. I bought in straight away. I went, yeah, you're right, absolutely. Wait a what? There's a W in there. And to be honest, wait a minute. Together we achieve more. So there's the T. There is no E. Yeah. Twam. Well, I enjoyed the sentiment of it, VK. That's the important thing. Nate H with the super chat says, when you're the club captain, Bruno, and you act like that in a match versus our rivals, you're going to get stick. United captain is held to a high standard. And I think that's fair. Obviously, look, there were questions asked about Bruno in this press conference, which I understand it too. But as we've spoken about a lot, I do think the criticism of him, or the singling him out in particular, has been way too far. I mean, I saw, and I shouldn't be surprised, but I saw Paul Merson talking about it yesterday, still going, Gary Neville said on commentary he asked to come off, as if that's fact. It's not fact. It's been proven to not be true, and they're still putting it out there. And I think that, unless I'm mistaken, I don't know if I've seen an apology yet. Have you? I have not seen Gary Neville come out and say, yeah, sorry about that. I was wrong. I put that out there. Everyone knows when you're in the media, even sitting on here, to you guys here, it's like you have a responsibility with the things that you say, whether they're factually accurate or not. And that line that Gary Neville said in the commentary, people have picked up on that, and it's true. And the problem is with that is now that's become fact. And it wasn't. And as they say later on in the press conference, would Bruno be proud, or would Bruno be? I think Bruno would be first to admit that his behaviour at certain points in that game was unacceptable. At the same time, and he has to improve on that, we've been saying for so long about captains that they've been doing nothing, and in games where people collapse and not showing any fight, at least I'm seeing some kind of passion, you know. But we'll get to that, because there was lots of Bruno questions in the press conference. VK, not only is he coming up with fantastic acronyms today that I like, forget team, TWAM, yeah? TWAM's real now, because VK has gifted 10, count them, 10 United View memberships, and I can read them out. Just Kevin was gifted a membership. Ed was gifted a membership. B2KED was gifted a membership. Seymour Turner Jr. was gifted a membership. H Big was gifted a membership. I Speak Whale, one of my favourite names there, I Speak Whale, has been gifted a membership. Hyper the Goat was gifted a membership. Sammy's been gifted a membership. Alfie's been gifted a membership. George Sue's been gifted a membership, and I believe that's all of them. Welcome to the UV Members Club. Welcome to the UV community, growing, expanding, and growing stronger. Big up VK, long-time supporter of the channel, member of the Members Club, moderator as well. Amazing. We spoke, I think it was yesterday, about Flex and myself on the Morning View, about the community that is being grown here at United View, and it really is just, it's incredible. And those new members now, you can see UV Raw. There's a new episode coming out. I mean, I can literally now, if you new members would want, right now, I don't even know if I'm allowed to do this, right? But because this is the danger when you give me a solo press conference stream, I know the latest episode of UV Raw is in the back end of YouTube for us. I could just put it to the members right now. Shall I do it? Shall I do it right now? To celebrate the 10 gifted new members, I might just do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right now. And maybe I'll get in trouble for this. They'll say, you shouldn't have done that. I don't care. I've gone rogue. I've got to find it first. But it is in here. Members only. It's been done. It's been done. Episode 10 of United View Raw, which is ironically enough, kind of similar to today, a trip to Carrington, is now available for the members. It's been done! It's been done. So UV members, after this, obviously, because we still want to get through all of the press conference reaction, you can go and watch it. So there you go. That's been done. Next question was about Bruno Fernandes to Erik ten Hag, about standards and if Bruno was going to remain as the captain, if Bruno met the standards that ten Hag has set this season.
Yes, definitely. And I think he's playing a brilliant season, and he's a really important role why we are in the position where we are, because he's giving energy to the team. He's not only running a lot and in the highest intensity, but also in the right way, in the right direction. And he's pointing and coaching players. He's an inspirator for the whole team. And yeah, but no one is perfect. everyone has his mistakes, and everyone has to learn. I have to learn, and he will learn as well because he's intelligent. And but I'm really happy to have Bruno Fernandes in my team, and I'm really happy that Bruno Fernandes is Harry, not on the pitch. He's our captain.
So Ten Hag, as one would be expecting there, backing Bruno Fernandes. Again, what's he going to do? And yeah, I think he's right to. I do think he's right to back Bruno. Again, he's not going to go in a press conference and say, no, Bruno didn't meet the standards and yeah, he's not going to be the captain anymore. Why would he? At a time which you need unity and a time which you need to be united, you're going to make more division? Yeah, it was unacceptable. Bruno stripped as the captain. Yeah, when he's never going to be a captain again. No, like Bruno Fernandes, yes, as he says, everyone makes mistakes. Nobody is perfect. Everyone has to learn. He said it himself, I have to learn. And we all do. We all go through life learning. But at the same time, we can't ignore what he has done this season so far and since he's arrived to the club. But if you want to talk about what have you done for me lately, this season, he has been an important role for the position that United are in. We have been praising him for captaining the side. My captain, my captain, my captain. We've been saying that. And it makes me almost uncomfortable to see people like that just turn on a player after one game because, you know, tomorrow, if Bruno Fernandes puts in an excellent performance, scores or assists against Real Betis, he'll be once again, that's how you bounce back. My captain. And again, it just would he be proud of certain things that he did at the weekend? No, but a lot of people wouldn't be as well. And look, maybe a conversation will happen at the end of the season about who the permanent captain is going to be moving forward, particularly one would think with Harry Maguire maybe leaving, I don't know. But as of right now, it's not the time for more division. It's the time for being united. It's the time for supporting, for backing the players, backing the managers. Even though they did not they did not do good by us on Sunday. But for large portions of the season, this guy has met the standard, has been setting standards. As Ten Hag said during the game, pointing to players, coaching the players on the pitch too. And, you know, and he put notice at the end, he said, well, if Harry's not there on the pitch, Bruno will be the captain. So he wants to make sure that he's going to, you know, keep the chain of command there going. But again, I felt that it was wrong. And you're totally fine to criticize players and scrutinize players and call them out for poor performances and poor behavior. Don't get me wrong, but it's gone too far, as everything does, I guess, in life or in today's age with social media and whatever. But it's gone too far because, you know, you'd have thought that Bruno Fernandes solely was responsible for 7-0 at the weekend with some of the things that have been written about him. Some of the things that have been said about him in the last 72 hours have been nuts. I pointed it out on Twitter yesterday. I saw an article dedicated to Bruno Fernandes having a meltdown at Anfield. I'd argue that everyone had a meltdown at Anfield. The entirety of Manchester United had a meltdown on Merseyside on Sunday, not just Bruno Fernandes. And it was the same person that wrote that article that also, just days prior, had written an in-depth analysis of Arsenal's late winner. And when I say in-depth analysis, he pointed out what everyone was doing in their celebrations, including Ben White waving his hands and the Ball Boys running onto the pitch. And you go, okay, that's your journalistic integrity right there. And because the media, they love it when Manchester United aren't doing well. When something bad happens with Manchester United, oh my goodness me, it's like Christmas. Was it Wizards say, I wish it could be Christmas every day? It is when United loses for them. I saw the New York Times, 55 million followers on social media, signal boosting that article, going, look, he had a meltdown at Anfield. And I'm going, wait a minute. He didn't behave in the way that maybe is appropriate for a Manchester United captain, but he wasn't solely responsible. As Ten Hag said, you win and lose as a team. Obviously, the captain is the spearhead of that, and he'll take the brunt of it. But some of the stuff, strip him of the captaincy. Come on. Like, it's better. And I'm not even saying like the media's better than that, because they're not. They're not better than that, because, again, I've seen a lot of quietness and through gritted teeth. You've seen the praise for Manchester United this season, or particularly again since the World Cup, when we were beating teams and fighting on four fronts. Through gritted teeth, I saw people praise United, and now, bang, the claws were right back out. And I understand it. It's a bad result. It's a terrible result. It's a historically bad result. But at the same time, man, like, it's too far. And I'm sure that Ten Hag would have a conversation with Bruno. You know, yeah, he'll have a conversation with Bruno Fernandes. And I'm sure that people within United, you've got Steve McLaren on the coaching staff there. He's been there for great captains like Roy Keane. He'd have a word and say, look, you know, that's not how you act. That's not how you behave as United captain, okay? Don't do that. At the same time, don't try and change him too much, because you don't want to completely change someone's personality that's got them to where they are today. But yeah, just, again, way too far, too much. The next question was asked from Adam from United Stand. Big up, Adam, as always. Always great to see fan channels getting questions in there and mixing it up with, shall we say, traditional media and new media. I hate those buzzwords. But big up, always asking the questions, as I mentioned. It's always great to see just anyone to asking questions, and it's not easy as well. So big up, Adam. And his question was to Marcus Rashford, being a role model for so many of the young players. Off the disappointment of last season, personally for him, he's been consistent, one of the, if not the most consistent player this season. And what changes have been made for him? Has it been due to the coaches? What changes has he made? And here's what he had to say.
I think, you know, probably the main thing is that I come into the season fit. I was 100% fit. I had a good training camp in the summer with, you know, my team before the pre-season, and then when I met up for pre-season, it's obviously a change because, you know, we had a new manager, new staff, new way of playing, and it was exciting to me. I just wanted to, you know, give it everything I could, and yeah, I've not looked back since then. You know, I feel like we've come on a lot as a team, and you know, we've won big games in our style of play, and it's been a while since I could sit here and say that. You know, yeah, we've beat big teams in the past and we've won big games, but we've always had to do it a different way to how we'd prefer to do it. But you know, this season we've gone out and tried our best to play our way of football and try and win games.
I think that's a really interesting point that Marcus Rashford makes there, actually, when he was talking about how this season we've got big results and we've beaten big teams, but not by changing too much from the game plan or the way we want to play football. And I don't think that gets talked about enough. Yes, away from home hasn't gone the way I think we would have wanted it to this season. And obviously that was just increasingly highlighted with the loss at Anfield on Sunday, and the stat that I think against the top 11 teams in the Premier League, we haven't won away from home. But the games we have won, the big games at home, you like your Arsenals, your Liverpools, your Manchester Cities, your Tottenhams, etc., have been through playing the football we would like to play. Now, obviously earlier on in the season, maybe against Liverpool or Arsenal, it was more on the counter-attack than we would like. But we are progressing, certainly. We are progressing in those right directions. And I think people could perceive that to be maybe a dig at the past regimes. But when we got results in the past, for instance, say under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer against the big teams, it was just you had to play on the counter-attack because that's how you beat them. And obviously you want to get to a point where teams are having to change the way they play because of you, not you against them. I always say you should set up the way to win the game, and that's true. But I think that's really interesting that he points that out, and interesting that he points out that really the reason for his turnaround this season is because he put the work in. And that's about it. He came into the season fit. We saw that he was taking a training camp prior to linking up with everyone on pre-season, and obviously the new coaches have played a massive part in that. Erik ten Hag since day dot has backed him, and look what happens when you back players. That's the key thing too. People are talking about Bruno and did he meet the standards and whatever. Marcus Rashford's the perfect example from Erik ten Hag's perspective of what happens when you put your arm around a player and say, look, regardless of what people say about you and regardless of what people tell me I should do regarding you, I'm going to play you, I'm going to back you, I'm going to back you in front of the media. All that I ask is that you return my faith and put the work in and represent me as best as you can on the pitch. Now, you could argue, again, with Bruno, didn't do that at the weekend, but Rashford's a great example of not giving up on players, not turning on them so quickly. And again, backing them. And that's what Erik ten Hag's going to do with all of the players, let alone, Bruno Fernandes. Will Smith. be careful, might hit me. Says Sabitzer just said he can play 3 games a week. Sabitzer, it'll be interesting to see if he's involved, if he starts tomorrow. Of course, there is some uncertainty, and says now missing our next game. Or is Sabitzer out? Is that the situation? I haven't seen that. Of course, I've been live this whole time, but there was a doubt about Casemiro, wasn't there as well? About him being not available for tomorrow. I mean, he did look injured at Anfield, and then it did come out afterwards that he was indeed injured, or he was going to have some fitness assessments or something like that. So we'll have to wait and see with that. When it comes to Sabitzer, again, if he's not available, then that is a problem because that's McFred. That's McTominay and Fred playing in midfield on Thursday. So we'll see. Ed says Ten Hag has confirmed that Anthony Martial and Sabitzer will miss, I guess. Wow, that is a problem because, again, I don't think Casemiro is going to play unless he was asked about that. What they basically do, I have noticed this, you get the press conference and then afterwards he does like an in-house media kind of interview. But if that is the case, then that's an issue, especially in a game that you're talking about getting a reaction as well. Yeah, well. The follow-up question to Marcus Rashford was, being a local Manchester United lad, are you confident in the squad bouncing back from the Liverpool game? And this is what Rashford said.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like, just touching on the Liverpool game, Liverpool versus United is a unique game. It doesn't matter about form. It doesn't matter about individuals' form. It's a special game of football that's just decided in the 95 minutes that you're on the pitch. And, going in at half-time, it could have been a different game. I mean, I missed a chance from Luke's pass at 0-0. That could have been 1-0. We had 2 or 3 other opportunities. We probably should have went into the half-time leading, but we wasn't. We was down 1-0, and we wasn't in a bad position. We felt like we could still go there and create chance in the second half. But it's Liverpool, they can take the game away from you, and that's what happened. So yeah, like the boss said, it's about resetting now. That's all we can do. There's no point dwelling on what happened because we can't change it. So yeah, we just press the reset button, go back to the basics, and give 100% again to try and win the game on.
Yes, so as that clip was just playing there, this is what happens, by the way, to those journalists. This is what happens when you don't ask about the game. When you don't ask about team news or you don't ask about the game, stuff gets missed. And as I said, Ten Hag, usually what he does is he does the press conference and then afterwards his in-house interview then comes out. And in said in-house interview with Manchester United, he has confirmed that Anthony Martial and Marcel Sabitzer will not be available to face Real Betis on Thursday. He said, quote, Marcel Sabitzer is not available, as well as Anthony Martial. Martial is back on the pitch, so we will see. For the rest, everyone is available and we are ready for the game. So if he's saying that everyone's available, then that would imply that Casemiro is available to play, but if he's picked up a knock or whatever. But I guess, look, if you're available, you're available. Casemiro and Fred then have to be the two. They have to play. Because the game is so important to bounce back from the weekend, and so important to get not just a positive result, a positive performance is really needed too. If we sort of scrape through it 1-0, 2-1 or something like that, it will still have that feel of, they looked like they're still a bit rocked. They look like they're still kind of suffering from the weekend a little bit. It has to be a real complete performance tomorrow, really. Obviously, the crux of it, the most important thing is the win, but the performance is important too. So if Casemiro is available, Casemiro's playing. But if he goes with Fred and McTominay, this is the thing with Real Betis. I was looking at this before the press conference started. They're actually in pretty decent form. The thing is, I mean, obviously I know they drew with Real Madrid at the weekend. What was it, 0-0? But they're actually recently, they've been conceding a lot of goals. They've been winning games, but they've also been conceding goals. They've been like 3-2s, 4-3s, 2-1s. So you can get at them. They'll concede goals, but therefore it's important to be playing on the front foot, be playing progressively and pushing the ball forward. I think the game's just too important that Casemiro doesn't... I'd be surprised if he started him on the bench. Even if it was, we'll play him for 45 minutes. Like, that important. I mean, we've seen in recent weeks, haven't we, when Casemiro hasn't started. Who was that against? Was that against West Ham? in the FA Cup, half time, Casemiro came on straight away. It was like, okay, that didn't work. Casemiro's going to come on. So I think that Casemiro will play. I think that's I think he will. If he's available, then he'll play. So that's a tough one, because I think there was a chance he might have played in that one, but I guess it'll be Casemiro and Fred once again. But Sabitzer and Martial not available. Clearly as well, they're just doing their utmost best to not rush Martial back, because they now have the extra option of Weghorst. They don't have to rush Martial back as quickly as maybe before they did. But still, I mean, it's crazy that, maybe he'll play. Even if he plays a part against Southampton on Sunday, he is not playing 90 minutes. So what we're really looking at is we could be midway through March and Anthony Martial still would not have played 90 minutes this season. That is insane. That is nuts. That is crazy. Yes. And insane. Now, the next question was from Simon Stone to Marcus Rashford. And this was really, I guess, maybe the biggest headline coming out of this press conference was the perception. Did Manchester United give up on Sunday? Did the team give up? Simon Stone said to Rashford, what do you say to people that say you gave up as a team, stop trying and stop running? And Rashford, as one would expect, was bullish in his response.
We didn't give up. That's nonsense. We was unorganised, yeah. Communication was bad, yeah. That's why we conceded the goals. But it comes down to the fact that, I believe that everyone was trying to get back into the game that much. We come away from the team's principles in and out of possession. I mentioned it after the game. I felt like the forwards was trying to press as just a forward unit. We weren't connected with the midfield, and then the same with the midfield and the defence. And we was trying to get a grip of the game when it was 2-0, when it was 3-0. We was talking, but I don't think we was, really in agreement of what to do. And listen, it's happened, and the only thing we can do is learn from it and move on. So I'm happy, I'm grateful that we have another game so quickly, because we have an opportunity to take a step forward from the last game and put it behind us.
Yes, I was just seeing some people in the chat talking about Sabitzer. Yeah, Sabitzer's not available. That's the situation there. I don't know if I maybe misspoke, but Sabitzer is not available. Casemiro is available. When it comes to Rashford and what he said there, first of all, again, what is he going to say, and what kind of question is that? Simon Stone, he has to ask. It's his job to ask. What's Marcus Rashford going to say? Yeah, we gave up. We stopped trying, because their professional pride is on the line when it comes to that. So he's not going to say that they gave up. I appreciate his response when he was saying, that we were disorganized and the communication was bad and we didn't follow the instructions. But to be honest, I take that as an answer for losing 3-0 or losing 4-0. A lack of communication and not following the principles, not following the tactics. When you lose 7-0 in the Premier League to any team, let alone, Liverpool at Anfield and what have you, they did give up. You cannot say that they didn't, because we saw it. We saw it with our own two eyes, right? And again, look, I totally understand what Rashford is saying there, and I understand what he has to say, because what else can he say? Yeah, we couldn't be bothered. When we went 2-0 down, we thought we ain't coming back from this, guys. So let's just sort of kick the ball around a little bit. They can't say that, but at any level of football, to lose 7-0, sometimes at amateur level, you can lose 7-0 because you're going up against a really good team and you yourselves are shit. But that was not the case on Sunday. They lost 7-0 because they went 2-0 down and a goal before halftime and just afterwards, and they went, well, we're not going to win this one today, and that was it, So they did. Short answer, they did give up. And that has been, we have seen that from Manchester United, at points this season. To be honest, because I've seen people comparing it to, say, the City result at the Etihad, right? And saying, I'd argue in that game, in that game at the Etihad, that they did get blown away. They capitulated. They weren't communicating. They weren't following the principles and the tactics because they got 3 goals back. It ended 6-3. So you could totally argue in that game that was more tactical as opposed to them just not trying, because that happened where it was so poor, so sloppy, but you felt like they just got blown away by a better team on the day. And again, they did keep fighting because they scored 3 goals. At Anfield, they stopped playing. And it's not the first time at Anfield that Manchester United have stopped playing as well. So to say that, no, we didn't give up, that's nonsense. That's not true. But again, I understand the other side of it, because what's he going to say? Imagine he said they did. I mean, first of all, if he said they gave up, Erik ten Hag would have shot him such a look there. And the headlines in the newspapers and on Twitter, on social media, would have been that they gave up. And again, United gave up, they're quitters. And you're not going to go out in a public forum and say that. So, what's he going to say? But at the same time, we all saw what happened, and at Anfield at the weekend. And to say that, no, didn't give up. Well, I think you doff to protest too much, as they would say. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, by the way, guys. We've got nearly 800 people watching, less than 150 likes. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe. We can get to, 250, 300, maybe even more than that if you haven't already. So if you haven't already, click the like button and be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. But obviously that was the big headline, obviously, coming out of the press conference, was that Rashford, he believes that United didn't give up. It was nonsense to say that. But what else is he going to say as well? I also think, right, and maybe this is me, biting, if you will. I'm taking the bait here. But I do worry, because I think to myself, man, what are some of these opposition fans going to do when it's a couple of weeks from now? What are they going to do to fill their lives, guys? Because clearly they've got nothing else to do than to tell people to keep saying the result. And as I said, the result will never go away. But it does make me wonder. But hey, we move on. We move on to the next question. And the next question was once again to Rashford, who, as I said at the beginning of this stream, it might as well have been the Marcus Rashford press conference as opposed to the Erik ten Hag press conference. But it was, I see a Chelsea fan in the chat as well. Well done. You beat Dortmund last night. I mean, how's it going in the league at the moment? That's what's crazy. That's what is. I've seen Chelsea fans try and give shit. I'd be less worried about the 7 in the 7-0 and be more worried about the 700 million that you spent and a 10th. That's the 7 that I'd be really concerned with, because to spend that amount of money and be where you are in the league. That would be the 7 that I would be concerned about if I were a Chelsea fan. And for Spurs fans, for them to try and give us shit. We lost 7-0. Also, the weekend prior, we won a trophy. When's the last time that happened with Spurs? It was the same. It was that trophy in 2008. When was the last time apart from that? Next question, yes, was to, actually, let me get the super chat out of the way first. SK says, you're exactly right, Owen. Liverpool and Klopp and the league will live off this result. So funny they collect together when United play. Well, again, the thing is with Liverpool, as I said, after on Monday too, is the important thing, I would say, is if I was a Liverpool fan, which, oh my goodness me, what hellish sound that is. But if I was, my things would be, 1, where has that been this season? And 2 would be, we've got to make it count for something, because you're telling me if you have like your best result ever and you don't make the top 4 or you don't win anything this season, that would be my concern. Because you can have that historic result, but I know where I'd rather be. I'd rather be in the top 4. I'd rather be in the Champions League next season, and I'd rather be winning trophies, like this. The Chelsea fans, when they go, at least we're in the Champions League. For how long? Because you've got to win the Champions League to be in there next season, because it's not going to happen through the league at all. I mean, your manager's going into press conferences going, I'm still here, because the assumption is going to be sacked. Okay. Nevertheless, next question was to Rashford once again, saying that you said on social media you can't let Sunday define your season. How do you make sure that doesn't happen? Is that the lowest moment? Here's what Rashford had to say.
Just losing against Liverpool's enough. It doesn't matter the scoreline. When you lose a game against Liverpool, when you lose a game against any of your biggest rivals, it cuts deep, and it's not nice. It's never a nice feeling. But for me, I just always remember how many games that we've won against them, and they have the same feeling. So it's football. It's why everyone loves the game so much. But yeah, it's obviously disappointing. But like I said, we can't dwell on it and look back. We just have to be, thankful really and grateful that, the games are coming thick and fast. Because of all the principles that we've had from the beginning of the season, we're in a position where we're still fighting on all fronts, and we still have a lot of games to play. So, when we have a game like we did against Liverpool, we want to play as soon as possible because we want to put it right. So yeah, tomorrow hopefully we can do that.
Indeed, hopefully tomorrow that can be put right by Manchester United, and as I said earlier on, that's the only way to to react from the weekend is to win the next game and win the game after that and move on. As much as people want to keep bringing it up and keep making us remember it, and I'm sure they will, the only way we can respond is by winning games as well. Next question was to Rashford, again, because again it was the Marcus Rashford press conference as well, and it was about playing alongside Bruno Fernandes. As I mentioned, lots of scrutiny, lots of talk about Bruno Fernandes, and as one would expect, Rashford's totally going to come in the press conference and throw Bruno Fernandes under the bus, isn't he? No, of course he's not. But he was asked what it's like to play alongside Bruno. Here's what Rashford had to say.
Yeah, I love playing with Bruno, as you can imagine. I think for a forward, like me, he's a perfect player to play with. I think he's been a good leader for us, even when he's not been captain, which is always a good sign. He's helped other players become better leaders, and the reality of it is we can't be a well-organised team with just one leader being the captain. So he's done a lot for us in terms of bringing his leadership skills in, and that was from the moment that he arrived. So yeah, I don't have anything negative to say about Bruno. Like the manager said, nobody's perfect. Sometimes you want to win so bad, you end up doing things that are a little bit out of character. But listen, 100% support Bruno and behind him. And I think as a team we have to support him because he's a fantastic player. And like the boss said, we won't be in the position that we're in if he wasn't playing games for us.
Can I also just say about Rashford too, I saw an article, since I'm lashing out at the media this afternoon, morning, evening, depending where you are. I saw an article, I think it was from the Daily Mail, so I shouldn't be too shocked, but it was one of these bullshit articles that after a big loss, or after any loss, but particularly the one against Liverpool at the weekend, and it was Marcus Rashford out driving his, I think it was like 250 grand car out shopping just days after the 7-0 mauling at Anfield. And I went, what? Breaking news. Man leaves the house and goes shopping. Can we just do enough with those articles? And I know why they do it, because it's just clicks. See? But you just sort of stoke the flames of people going, see? He doesn't care. He's allowed to go outside. It's not like a jail sentence. Oh my goodness me. Going out shopping. It was crazy. And it's just like, and again, that's one of stuff like you see that and you go, come on, like, and they wait for it. They wait for a bad result to happen and go bang. It's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Really, really is. I just don't get it. Pre-Tesh with the super chat says 09 season they beat us 4-1 at Old Trafford, but we won the league. I think referring to Liverpool as well, I guess. Again, I mean, whatever. The final question was to Erik ten Hag, saying to how have the players reacted? Can you give us an idea how the players have reacted, how they've come back from the result, and are you satisfied with their reaction so far? And Ten Hag said, as you would expect him to say, that he indeed is satisfied.
Yes, I think the player they reflected well. We know, but we also know when you go in the season, setbacks will always be there, and this was a huge setback, clear. But when you are, we had a run, I think 23 games with 1 loss, and now was a second. But of course, the way there was a lot of lessons in it, and it can help us for the future, and that is what we have. So the positive out of it, and how negative it is, that is. Well, we were really below average, especially mentally wise. So we have to take the lessons. We want to be a big team. We want to win trophies. So then you have to act different. And I think, after Sunday we got a big lesson, and we take that. But now we have to move on, and we have to look forward. And so that is the way. We treated it. Now all the energy, all the focus has to be on the next game.
Indeed, and that's the perfect way to finish up. The focus has to be on the next game. The focus has to be on reacting. The focus has to be on what the things we can control and the things we can change, which is winning the next game, which is winning the game after that, and setting things right. As I said at the beginning of the stream, I'll say it at the end here. Cannot change what happened on Sunday. We will never be allowed to forget it. Certainly, we'll never be allowed to forget it. It'll be one of those pictures of the scoreboard at Anfield that will live forever, in the same way that we do it with Arsenal with 8-2 or anything like that. So the only way we can react from it is by being successful. Is by having a successful season, is by finishing in the top 4, is by maybe, hopefully, you never know, winning another trophy, and remaining united as well. As we have said, when we've had good moments this season, we have spoken about the unity, saying we are united, And as Ten Hag said, you win together, you lose together too. And the important thing is to remain united, support the players, back the manager, back the captain, and get a positive result, no doubt about that. Ed's been a member for 5 months, says, in recent years, we've held 4 from Everton, Brentford, Watford, 6 from City, and Spuds, 4, 5, and now 7 from Scousers. Until we have a full clear out, this will happen. Wow, you never know what's going to happen with United come the summer. It might look completely different. There's still a lot that's evolving and changing and is unknown about Manchester United, I think, at the moment, isn't there, too? So that's going to be really interesting when it comes to the ownership of the club. And there's more come out today, which is kind of a repeat of yesterday, which is round 2 is happening this week, with talks from these sort of 3 parties. I mean, Ineos / Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Sheikh Jassim's Qatar bid, and another unknown private bid. Those talks are going to be taking place this week. I think the Qatar talks are next week. They haven't said when the Ineos ones are, but it's progressing. It's moving on. It's moving forward. And I don't know if this whole April deadline about an actual takeover being done, or at least in principle by then, that seems a bit too soon for me, but it looks like it's still moving in that direction, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of twists and turns before anything gets officially announced and confirmed as well. And VK as well, he's done it again, says, has gifted 5 United View memberships. Big up VK as well. Let me see these new members here. Love was gifted a membership by VK. MS was gifted a membership. Temideu has been gifted a membership. Dwayne and Chris, all members of the UV members club. I've merged VK and U, UK members club there as well. During this very stream, and big up VK as always, huge supporter of the channels. During this stream, I pressed live for the members on the latest episode of UV Raw. That's the exclusive part of the exclusive content you get as part of the UV Members Club. So now, as we're wrapping up, you can go and watch the latest episode 10, which was actually at Carrington a while ago, but episode 10, UV Raw, a behind-the-scenes look at the day-to-day goings-on here at United View. You can get the back catalogue of UV Raw, the prior 9 episodes. You can get Q&As, which more are coming soon. You can get a game of Star Wars Guess Who. You get your badges, your emojis, and your members' priority chat there as well. So there you go, guys. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. 9 likes away from 200. Before we wrap things up, plenty of content on the horizon as well. Obviously, we're going to be getting Flex's preview from there in Manchester at Carrington. Tomorrow is match day, so we're going to be getting, obviously, a full match day experience, match views, fan views, all that good stuff. In addition to that, if you haven't already watched it, it came out this morning. The latest episode of The Red Room with Marcel and Mina is out. I believe that's episode 3. I think it is. I think it's episode 3. So if you haven't checked that out, you can check that out too. I'm out of here. Have a great Wednesday afternoon / evening, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Peace.